I remember being on the floor just banging my fists on the carpet going, I need weed. What's up, my BBs? Welcome back to my channel, or if you've never been here before, welcome. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Thank you so much for joining me today. My video today is going to be a updated recovery, sobriety, mental health journey video / Q&A. I haven't figured out a title yet. I asked you guys on Instagram to send in some questions for me that you had about my sobriety. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will link my full explanation of why I had to stop smoking in the description below. And I know I can't give a disclaimer for everything, there's always going to be haters, but I did want to say, me making this video or anything else I've said about my sobriety is not me trying to get people to stop smoking, because I think weed can be so amazing. I think it really can like relieve so much pain for people, and it's one hell of a plant. But for me, the reactions just weren't the same. Also, yes, I dyed my hair. I'm back to more of my natural color. That was a weird segue, but yeah, let me just get started with these questions. I love you guys for your support throughout all of this. I am currently a little over 4 months sober, and it's been quite a journey. So let's get started. First question is, do you miss weed? Short answer is yes. When it's something that used to take over so much of my life, it's hard to just go without it. And so I'll get into this a little later with some of the other questions, but short answer is yes, I do a lot. One question that was asked more than anything was, do I still have urges to smoke and how do I get through them? So again, the short answer is yes. I have urges still, a lot of urges, which is normal, I've heard, and it's something I've had to radically accept, that I'm going to have urges. They're not to the point where I would consider smoking again. I'll get to that question. There's a relapse question coming up. Besides distracting myself, one of the main ways I get through it is I have these little clippings from my old journal, and they basically, that's the wrong one, but this one says, the urges to smoke are destroying me. I'm getting desperate. I feel like I'm such an addict. And then there's another one that I have that I can't find right now, which is probably not good. I should look for that. But it says, like, I don't care about anything. I want to be numb from the world. All I care about is getting high. So like looking at that, like I don't want to go back to that place where I relied on it for everything. And so I was miserable. I remember those days like it was yesterday. I remember being on the floor just banging my fists on the carpet going, I need weed. I remember that like it was yesterday. Like, it's insane to look back at where I was and where I am now and just the ways I was living my life. And it's just crazy. I keep saying that it's crazy, but it really just is. I'm going off on a tangent, but I really am so proud of myself for how far I've come. Do I ever feel like relapsing, and do I have any tips to prevent it? I have like passive thoughts about relapsing, if that makes sense. Like I go like, ugh, I wish I could smoke. I don't even know if that's a passive relapsing thought, but it's like I'll think about like what would happen if I would relapse, and that's something called playing the tape. Basically just like going through the effects of relapsing. Like if I relapsed, what would happen? And it's like I look at my chips that I've earned. I keep my 90-day chip on my keychain, Marijuana Anonymous, so that if I'm ever out and I feel like relapsing, I can look at it and look at how far I've come. And I feel like if it didn't make me sick, if I didn't have cannabinoid hyperemesis, I would be more worried about myself relapsing. But I also remember that place I was in when I was just so nauseous. It was like debilitating. and that's another place I don't want to go back to, so I just couldn't risk it. First step I took towards sobriety. So when I first started going to anonymous meetings, I kind of didn't really take them seriously at all. It was like I was just going like for my parents' sake, so that like they thought I was making a step in sobriety, and I really wasn't doing it for me. And they always say like, you're not gonna get serious about sobriety unless you do it for yourself. And so I remember I was thinking like, oh, I'll just smoke like a couple times a year, I'll be fine. And it wasn't until I was at a NA meeting, Narcotics Anonymous, that someone celebrating 8 years, it was his sobriety birthday, and he gave me his candle. And basically what that means is if someone gives you their candle, then you bring it back on your birthday, your sobriety birthday, when you hit a year, and you use the candle. And when that happened, I was like, now I really want to maintain my sobriety, because I want to be able to prove to these people that like I can do this, and like I think I can. That's what I was saying. I know I can. Also, I have had 2 people in this is my chip keychain. I've had 2 people in Narcotics Anonymous give me their chip for multiple years of sobriety. It was someone celebrating, I believe, 30 years and like 22 years. Because they have a bunch of these, because this is just multiple years of sobriety. So a lot of times they will give these out to people, and it was just like such an honor when they gave me this. And then I also have 2 more candles that people have given me, and just looking at all this that's one thing that makes me not want to relapse. It's one thing that really kickstarted my sobriety and made me start taking it seriously. When someone smokes a joint next to you, how do you react? So usually I don't get myself into situations where that could happen. If it does happen, if I do start smelling the smoke, I tend to get myself out of the situation. Not because I'm worried I'll be like, can I hit it? But it brings back memories, and it's a trigger for me sometimes. No. Some things you've come to realize since I've become sober. I've learned a lot about myself, a lot more than I kind of wish I did, honestly. I learned that like a lot more about my mental health, because before, if anything went wrong, I would smoke it away. And so I really had to learn how I reacted and how to fix it without smoking. I learned that like actions have consequences, and I learned about the way that I interpret situations, and that was not easy to learn about. I have so much more insight on myself now, because I've done so much self-reflection that I know so much more about myself, but I know there's still also so much further to go, so much more to learn. How hard is it being sober now that it's been a while? Does it get easier? I'd be lying if I said I'm happy as can be and it's easy and all that. Like, it's hard. It's still not easy. Like I said, this was my entire life. It was my identity. I was Blazing Barista. I was a stoner, pothead, whatever you want to call it. And so the fact that that was taken away from me / I gave it up, it took a part of me, and I've been working on filling that hole that's been made in my heart. That might sound dramatic, but it really was not easy to give up, and it's still not easy. People don't think it can be a trigger to someone, and it can be. And like I said, a lot of people don't know that. And so these days I just take everything one day at a time. That's just how I live. I forgot to say that earlier. Like if I ever start future tripping, which is just getting anxious about the future, like, will I ever smoke again? Like, will I ever be able to smoke again? Like, what's gonna happen to me in the future? I just have to say, all right, take a step back, just take things one day at a time. One thing that people ask me a lot is if I've tried using CBD. Because of my stomach, rather than like my addiction is why I choose not to use CBD. I'm just scared of there being something in it that's gonna bother my stomach. Has my anxiety been worse since I stopped smoking? I hate saying yes because then people might be like, oh, well then shouldn't you keep smoking if it's helping your anxiety? My anxiety has been worse in the sense that I've had to experience it more, so it feels like it's a lot because I was used to just smoking to get rid of my anxiety and then laying there and then not dealing with the problem. And so the fact that I have to actually deal with my problems, what a concept, has been hard. It's been rough, but I'm learning skills to cope, and I think that's a question coming up. Skills I use to cope with urges and new hobbies to fill my time. So skills, distract is a big one. A lot of the skills I use, or pretty much all the skills I use, are from DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. And so distracting myself, finding hobbies, which I'll get into. Yeah, and just like finding ways to occupy my mind so I don't get into that mindset of being like, ugh, I wish I could just be high right now. And then new hobbies, yes, makeup has been a huge part of my life. I do it almost every day just for fun. I honestly don't even think I've worn it out. It takes a lot of time. I just sit back, relax, watch TV, do my makeup, make my content. It's just so much fun for me. I do yoga sometimes. I've been doing a lot more modeling and acting since I've gotten clean, and it's been fun. It really has been. I edit for Lexi a lot, which is so much fun. I love doing that. It really, like, time will fly by when I do that. So that's some of the new hobbies. What made me realize I had to stop? So I did explain this a bit in my full explanation video, but basically I wanted to stop because, or it was more, I knew I needed to stop because I couldn't, if that makes sense. And I didn't want to stop when I knew it was harming me. I knew it was making me sick. I knew my grades were dropping. I knew my motivation was just on the floor, and I didn't care. I just wanted to get high. That was all that mattered to me. To explain some of the therapy I've done, like I said, a lot of DBT and group therapies, just learning all these skills. I have like my go-to, something called TIP, which is temperature, increase muscle relaxation. I'm gonna put it here in case I don't get it right. Increased muscle relaxation, paced breathing, and something else. But basically I use the temperature part of that, and that's like cold shower or an ice pack or something like that. It just really distracts me. Distract is a DBT skill. Build mastery is a DBT skill, and that's what I've been doing with makeup and editing and stuff like that. So those are some of the skills I've used. I also have done a little bit of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, but mainly DBT. The last question is an interesting one. It's how long did it take to get over my addiction? They say addiction is a lifetime disease. I'm always going to be an addict. I will always have my addictive tendencies. I know I will always have that dopamine in my brain just wanting to go crazy and take it to the extreme with some things, but I just have to like take a step back, dial it back, just think about what's going on, take a deep breath, and then proceed mindfully. And I think that's it. So thank you guys so much for joining me and so much for all of your support. Follow me on Instagram and hit that like button and leave a comment below. A nice comment, please. I love you guys so much. I think I might have already said that, but I love you twice as much. If I didn't already say that, then that's embarrassing. I still love you twice as much. I'll see you guys next time. Mwah.